What do you think about the committee will do with the Wolverines?
I think she's right. A week ago we all overreacted, including myself, when Michigan State was ranked ahead of Michigan. But you've had this feeling all along, even after they lost and blew that lead against Sparty, that Michigan was a better team. And I think that's what the committee should have waited a week. They would have been validated, but they jumped the gun. Cincinnati's just stuck. They don't have impressive games. I think they have SMU remaining. I mean, that's the game this weekend. That was supposed to be the big game that promoted them to the rest of the country, but it's not going to work. So I don't think Cincinnati is going to really matter unless there is significant chaos ahead of them.
So what tonight? So what will it look like? What's the top four going to look like?
Yeah, I think you're going to see Georgia, Alabama, Oregon, and probably Ohio State, and then Cincinnati, maybe Michigan. I mean, by the way, I don't want to dismiss the importance of this event tonight, but when you have teams playing each other, they're all going to cancel each other out. So whether Michigan is 5 or 6, it doesn't matter. I think they will be 5 because they look better than Cincinnati. But when they play Ohio State next week, somebody loses and probably drops out of the top 5 or top 4. So it really won't make any difference.
All right. So who wins this weekend's elimination game, Paul? Big Ten, Michigan State, Ohio State.
Yeah, I don't think Michigan State is going to be able to hang with Ohio State. Ohio State has the best offense in the country, Max, and ultimately, it's about them getting through Ann Arbor next weekend. I know history is on their side, but I will say this about Michigan, and I have certainly been a critic of Jim Harbaugh, but to his credit, he has been able to steady this program this year, and outside of that terrible 10 minutes against Michigan State, they have looked like a completely different program than the past 2 years. So I'm not ready to call the game yet next weekend, but I think Ohio State easily gets by Michigan State, and then we set up for very likely the game of the year in college football next week.
Wait a minute. Clip that sound. Paul Feinbaum just gave Jim Harbaugh credit. This is breaking news. We should play hot news or not news with this tomorrow, Evan. This is unbelievable, Paul.
How about this? This just in, Max.
Hey, Paulie, I got a line for you. I am not running for president, which typically means when somebody says that, they're going to run for president. So what do you make of Jimbo Fisher saying he'd be the dumbest human being on God's green earth if he were to leave Texas A&M to go to LSU?
Well, I think he might even be dumber to keep talking about a job that he probably should ignore. I think Shakespeare had a pretty good line. He does protest too much. Or I think methinks the lady does protest too much. But the point being, quit talking about it already. All you have to say is, I'm not going anywhere. Nobody. First of all, nobody believes coaches anyway. Jay Will. I mean, do you? I've had coaches lie to my face. You've had coaches lie to your face. So you don't have to explain. It's really not necessary. Or you just you do what Mike Tomlin did a couple weeks ago and end it in about 15 seconds. And instead, this is about the third time Jimbo Fisher has doubled down. And I give him credit. He brought into the conversation yesterday, said, I know all of you think we coaches lie. I mean, go ahead and bury the lead right there, Jimbo. It was really pretty funny to watch. I don't know what to make out of the Jimbo Fisher at LSU rumors. For those who don't follow this, like some of us, his former boss, Scott Woodward, the guy that was at Texas A&M that gave him this massive contract a couple of years ago, is now at LSU. Jimbo has also worked at LSU under Nick Saban. He was also offered that job 5 years ago and turned it down. So, I mean, it seems unlikely that he would do this. He's also selling his own program very well by saying we may have the #1 recruiting class, but let's not be foolish here. That job will be filled before the national signing date in mid-December. So even if he goes there, all the 5 stars who have committed to him can turn around and jump right on board at LSU if they so desire. So I think he's doing just a little bit too much talking.
Yeah, maybe so. Paul, one of your hit jobs is Dan Mullen Florida's coach. What did you make of him and his team celebrating after a big win over the FCS program, Sanford? They took them down 70-52, and they were dancing in the locker room.
Yeah, and Sanford, which I think had only had 3 or 4 wins all year, had given had not played. I mean, this is not even a good team. So sometimes you have a really quality FCS team, and you say, okay, well they were prepared for the game. They played in the spring, but this isn't one of them. And they were leading Florida by 2 touchdowns at one point in the game. I mean, the idea that you fire your defensive coordinator on a Monday, and then your new defensive coordinator gives up 100 to Sanford is inexplicable. And then you celebrate, and then Dan Mullen tried to convince everybody how great his offense played. I don't know if I've ever seen a coach make a bad situation worse by winning a game, but he managed to. And now he's out of mulligans because he goes to Missouri this weekend, which is a pedestrian team. And then he has Florida State the final game, which eked out a pretty stirring win over Miami. Not that that's a big deal, but it's a program that's gaining a little bit of momentum. So he has really put himself in an awkward spot. Right now, I think the fan base, if it had a vote, might vote him out of office. The pressure is building. And this was a guy that 2 months ago, we were sitting here talking about how, man, this guy's a great coach. He coached Dak Prescott at Mississippi State. He developed Kyle Trask last year into the Heisman Finals, and he just lost to Alabama on a 2-point conversion. And look at him now. I mean, the fan base is up in arms because he's celebrating, and his team is dancing after beating Sanford. That's not Stanford. That's Sanford.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.